Well, at the very least, yes, I agree with you, David, on that. This is the voice of young people. When I saw the events in Tottenham first taking place, and they were showing footage of it here, you saw Hasidic Jews in the crowd and engaging in the activity. And then some of the areas where I've done work with young people in London, those areas kicked off, and I can tell you now that you had young people who were of Arab descent, English and Irish descent, African descent, whether it be African people of African descent from the Caribbean or people from African descent that's either from East Africa or West Africa. You also had Moroccans and Algerians and even Eastern Europeans, people from places like Bosnia and things that live in these communities. You know, when you go into these areas and see who's on the ground, the black population is usually not even the total dominant population. You know, and what people got to remember when you look at the United Kingdom, it's a country of 64 million people, and people of African extraction only make up just under 2 million of that population. And we tend to live in the larger cities. So in the larger cities, it will look as if there's a lot of black people in this country, but trust me, we're just a drop in an ocean of white milk. And people can understand that that's the context of what you're seeing here. So no way could it be isolated just to black youth.
Right.
No way can that be the case.
That's the voice of Twilight Bey. We are talking to him from London. We're going to be joined with another guest, Lee Jasper. We're going to take a musical break right here. We're going to come back. We'll be joined by Lee. We'll also continue our conversation with Twilight right here on The Morning Mix. Police and Thieves, The Clash. Who would have known that, you know, some 20-some-odd years later, probably a little bit more since they did that album, that we would be talking about clashes in the streets of London, London burning, all that stuff. On the phone line with us, we've been talking with Twilight Bey, originally from Los Angeles, former gang member who was intimately involved with the historic peace talks that took place around the Rodney King uprising in L.A., who lives in London now, is a community activist, does a lot of work with the youth there in giving us a very historic perspective and giving us a contrast as to what has taken place in those two cities, London and Los Angeles. And we see that there's a lot of parallels. And I'm sure as we've been listening, we're able to draw similar conclusions with other incidents of police terrorism throughout the country. Joining us also from London is Lee Jasper on the phone line with us. And Lee, I don't know how to best describe you, you know, but I know the word radical was in one of the descriptions. How you doing, sir?
Yeah, nice to speak to you, Davey D. Just want to say I'm a big fan. You know, I love FM. Is it Breakdown FM? I used to hear you on back in the day.
Oh, okay.
I was inspired by your hip-hop commentary. I did a similar program intercutting news, interviews, and music. Absolutely inspirational. Having got that out of the way, what do they call me? Well, it's a puzzle wrapped up in an enigma.
Yes.
Generally described as a pain in the backside to all. So I have a reputation that goes ahead of me.
We started off the show by playing a little clip from you, but we wanted to talk to you, you know, to get your perspective as well, as Twilight has been giving us a very good synopsis and connecting it because he's from the States. We're able to, you know, really see these similarities. But from your perspective, what's the next steps from here at this point? You know, one of the concerns that people have said that when you look at the history of uprisings, especially when they come from black communities or communities of color, it usually leaves the community for years and years in shambles and never able to really return back to its vibrancy. And I'm not sure if that would be applicable to what has been taking place in London, or will this bring about the systemic change that we really need?
Well, I mean, I think two things. I think, one, there are areas similar to that in London, areas that are historically been deprived, where long-term systemic unemployment, high youth and adult unemployment have remained constant for the last 30 to 40 years. bringing in with its wake of poverty, the dysfunctional nature of families, addictions to various alcohol or drugs, indulgence in criminality, all of the usual characteristics one sees of areas that have been the victims of a policy of benign neglect from state authorities. So we've seen that in the United Kingdom, and we have those areas here. Where do we go from here? Well, I think that